Hello, good evening. Welcome to Literacy Night number 5. Tonight we're going to be reading a fairy tale, a classic fairy tale you've probably heard before called The Three Little Pigs. Now we're going to be discussing and exploring point of view. And so the story we're reading tonight is from a different point of view of the traditional Three Little Pigs, the Big Bad Wolf type of thing. It's actually written from the wolf's point of view. It's a really exciting story. There's a few words Vivian is going to come and teach us, and then we'll read it. So thanks for joining us.
Hello, Unaclete students. It's so good to see you tonight. And I have 3 new words I would like to teach you, so pay close attention. Our first word is honor. What word? Yes, honor. It's a verb, and it means to be regarded with great respect. Our next word is spoil. What word? Yes, spoil. It is a verb. It means to diminish or destroy the value of the quality of something. So, if it spoils, it's no good anymore. The last word I'm teaching you tonight is framed. What word? Yes, framed. It's a verb. It's when there's false evidence against an innocent person so that they appear to be guilty. Now look for these 3 words throughout your story.
Now, tonight I've chosen a story about the 3 little pigs that's a little bit different. And out there are so many different stories of the 3 little pigs. There's the classic story you can find books about, but then there's other stories. I have another one that I'm not reading tonight, but it's called The 3 Little Wolves and the Big Bad Pig, so it kind of flips the roles. And the one we're reading tonight is the true story of the 3 little pigs, and it's told by A. Wolfe, and it's as told by John Ciesica, and it's illustrated by Lane Smith. I really love the illustrations, so as you're reading the story or listening to the story, pay really close attention to the illustrations. They're really cool. Here's the dedication page. At the beginning of most stories, you can find that. To Jerry and Molly, JS and LS. Everyone knows the story of the 3 little pigs. Or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were the big bad wolf too. So this is from first person, from the wolf's perspective. It's good. But, like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold. I ran out of sugar. And so I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He'd built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in?" No answer. I was just about to go home without a cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. And that's when my nose started to itch, and I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed, and I snuffed. Achoo! And I sneezed a great sneeze. darn straw house fell down, and right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, and so I ate it up. Think of all the big cheeseburgers just lying there. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He built his house out of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in?" He yelled back, "Go away, Wolf! You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin." And I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze, and you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down, just like his brother's, and when the dust cleared, there was a second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. And so I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and the second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He'd built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house, no answer. I called, "Mr. Pig, are you in?" And do you know what that rude little porker answered? "Get out of here, Wolf! Don't bother me again!" Talk about impolite. He probably had the whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me even one little cup for my dear, sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed, I snuffed, and I sneezed once again. Achoo! Then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." Uh-oh. And now, I was usually a pretty calm fellow, but when someone talked about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. And when the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down the pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. And the rest, as they say, is history. The news reports found out about the two pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. The real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar? The end. So that's another fairy tale about the Three Little Pigs story, but a different perspective. So when you're reading a story, think of maybe if a different character was telling the story, how the story might be a little different. I hope you have a great night, and I'll see you for next Literacy Night. Bye!